when Chubb got hurt, late that night, I put in the rundown, like, I wanted to talk about broadcast choosing to not show the injury.
Yes.
And I thought I was going to have, like, a unique perspective on it. And then friggin' Dan Patrick, he did it yesterday, said basically, like, the same thing. I thought we could have a discussion about it because it happened, right? The injury happened.
Yep.
And then they said, we're not going to show it because we're being told it's so bad. And then you heard the crowd react to it. And I think the broadcast should show the injury. I don't think they should glorify it. But like it, because it's going to be on the internet anyway. And I think you do a disservice to the players when you don't show it. With the caveat of, like, I think NFL players, it should be a conversation with the league. Like, are they okay if their injury is shown, right? Because we've seen it through all of NFL history. Joe Theismann to Alex Smith. We saw Dak. We saw all of that stuff. And I think it's like, if players are okay with, if they have an issue, then fine. Like, change how you show those things. Like, if players like, we don't want this to be seen. And I don't think players feel that way. But I think, like, to me, when you see those things, it's a reminder of how dangerous the game is. And it's not like a matter of being disrespectful towards the player. You don't need to show it like 50 times. But I think, like, seeing it and saying this is really bad, it reminds fans, like, oh shit, even like on a, like, that wasn't like a crazy play where he got hit super hard where you're used to seeing. His leg just got stuck underneath the tackle and his knee pops out. So, like, I think it's a weird thing where everybody's like applauding the broadcast for not showing it. I don't think seeing it does anything to, like, help or hurt Nick Chubb in that situation. And then it's like this weird curiosity thing where I think people are like searching to go see the injury, and they're searching in other places. But that was kind of my take on it.
I think that there's like a couple of things there. I think if you, especially if you are ESPN, I mean, after Damar Hamlin, and because broadcast has been getting criticized for showing significant injuries before. And I think that there's a very fine line between showing it and glorifying it, like you were saying. If you're showing it, like, let's see it from this angle, and this angle, and this angle, right? Like, we don't need all of that.
I think I think that was with Dax when he broke his foot. I feel like we saw it like 7 different ways.
Correct. And I'm like, don't need this, right?
Like, here you can see the pain in his eyes.
Yeah. As he's like a towel over the head, crying, like 100%. Yeah, we don't need to see that. So I feel like after Damar Hamlin and how that was how that was handled, which obviously was a very unique situation and one that hopefully will not happen again, that I feel like broadcasts are now going to be more conservative on what they show, because if they go the other way, that opens them to a lot more criticism. So I think from a broadcast standpoint, they're going to err on the side of, if it's a serious injury, like serious, then they're not going to show it. And if people want to go find it, they can go find it on the internet. So your point is that football is an incredibly violent game. And it's a reminder that when these players get hurt, how violent it is, and they should be appreciated more. I just want to make sure, like, I'm understanding. Is that what the point is?
Yeah, I think, like, seeing it once on there, I don't think it, like, is disrespectful to the player. That said, like, that's my feeling, and that's the way I think players feel. If players come out and say, we don't ever want to see a replay, like, of our injury during the game, then I think it's their decision, right? And I don't think that conversation's, like, ever happened, like, between the NFL and the NFLPA and how it's broadcast. But
I disagree. I think the NFLPA, there's again, I've never read the the agreement, or at least not the entire thing. But the point that I'm making is, like, they have, like, the use of their name, their image, what have you. So because they could sell jerseys, they could do all this stuff. They could sell stuff with their faces on it. It's just a matter of, like, they basically own all of your image. And so that's it. When you like sign your contract, I imagine that's what that's going to look like. But yeah, I can understand like the difference between being respectful. Like you show it once maybe, and then you're done. I don't know. It's a weird conversation because I feel like it is so subjective, one. And two, so there was a comment before saying like the top 10 injuries and stuff like that. Like there was a whole injury show. I still remember like vividly ESPN doing like the biggest hits of the week, right? Yeah. And it's just like they're showing guys get blasted and they're going to get concussions from that, right? It was insane. I feel like we have shifted so much because it's like player safety and all that great, wonderful stuff, which are good steps. But I feel like, I don't know, there's like a weird like gray area that's in there that it depends on what the injury is. And like the Damar Hamlin thing, like if somebody collapses, like I don't need to see that. And what I mean by that is like I can still respect that because I did that. There was 2 instances last year. There was Damar Hamlin, and then there was Tua. Tua, when he went down and immediately locked up, and it looked like he might have been seizing up, and I was like, oh man. Like, I think you can have that level of respect while also like not focusing on the player and kind of giving them that privacy. That's why I've seen in soccer too, right? With serious injuries, like the players surround like the down player to make sure that the camera is not going to be on them. So yeah, I don't know. It's just like a weird place because I think it depends on each individual injury and like the severity of that. Like once you start getting into head stuff, in which like that could potentially like be bigger than like a broken leg or something like that. I don't know. I feel like maybe that stuff shouldn't be shown, but I understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I think like, I don't think we've ever really heard the player's perspective like really on it. And that I'd be curious to see what they think. I just like, and I think like guys who play in the NFL, they're wired a little bit different than most of us. So like my take is like, I don't think it's disrespectful to show it as long as you're showing it once. But also like more importantly, like I just want to hear what players think about it versus like, our opinions.